Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. So we're talking about how weight loss affects your relationships, and I'm talking about your most important relationships. You need to deal with this because it affects them in ways you probably have not really thought about, and it's important that you do because a lot of times it's a negative impact. It's a negative effect. So the common example is, well, really, it's any situation. But if you look at your weight and how it's come to be, a lot of that story is intertwined with the relationships that are most important to you, specifically, usually a partner, your best friendships. These relationships usually involve aspects of why you weigh what you weigh. So to put it bluntly, you may go out and eat with these people a lot. You may eat a lot of cookies and ice cream and snack with these people. You may go out drinking and go clubbing with these people. And so when you start eating healthier, when you start slimming down, it's going to have a direct impact on that relationship. And I think you need to recognize this if this is a situation for you, because a lot of times we will not allow ourselves to negatively impact our best relationships and most important ones, even if it's for something great like losing weight and becoming healthier. So you need to make some peace with this. And before we even talk about how to make peace with it, I think the first thing, and this kind of helps you make peace with it, is to understand that these people, when you feel like they're sabotaging you, it's not that they don't want you to get the results you want. It's not that they don't want you to be healthier. A lot of times, all it is that they feel that you're kind of holding a mirror up to them in a sense, right? Because anytime someone around you that you're close to starts eating healthier, you start reflecting on your own situation, right? So that's part one. And part two is that it just changes the dynamic. It changes the things you've done that maintain rapport. If a lot of things you've done with these people is to go out and eat, and now all of a sudden you're not going to do that, it breaks rapport and it makes things feel weird. And so you have to acknowledge that. And that's the first step with making peace of it, is acknowledge that this is what's going on and then come up with solutions to it, because it's a real issue. And I've seen so many people that because they don't want to negatively impact their relationships, they'll sabotage their own weight loss. So if this is a situation for you, and it is for almost everyone, by the way, I want to be crystal clear about that. If you've been overweight for a while, you have to understand that things settle into kind of a status quo. And anytime you rock that in any dramatic way, it's going to have some impacts, severe impacts on what's going on. Some good, some bad. And so we look at the negative potential impacts of it and we mitigate them, we deal with them. And so one way to deal with it is to start communicating with the other people. Of course, this has nothing to do with our relationship. I'm still going to love you as much as I do. We'll still have fun. We'll still do lots of stuff. I just need to get this under control. And so that's the first piece, I think, is really reassuring them. And again, so often it feels unfair that you're doing all this work and you got to reassure the people, but you do. I'm telling you, if you really want to create the health and the body you want, you're going to have to reassure the people that are most important to you in your life. And the second thing is that in addition to this, is you've got to stay focused on your motivation, because a lot of times these people, whether intentionally or not, will kind of be subtly sabotaging you in order to get things back to the status quo. So you have got to keep your head in a bulletproof state where you're really, really focused and motivated, especially when you're around these people, especially when you're changing kind of well-established habits and routines that you had with these people. And once you start doing this, I think this really puts you on a completely different path, because this is one of the biggest subconscious blocks for people getting the results they want, is because it will have a negative impact on the relationship. So you've got to deal with that. And again, I'm giving you a couple strategies, but the key one is, whether these strategies work or not for you, the key thing is to acknowledge the challenges that this creates, and then consistently, in a focused way, focus on solutions to them. Keep focusing on, how can I make this relationship even stronger and, create the body that I want. All right. And the more you think this way, the easier it is to come up with the solutions that allow you to get the body you want and to have the relationships you want as well. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Just let the old cameras up. There we go. Nice. Yeah, smooth, huh? Getting smoother and smoother every day. All right. Let's see here. How's it going, Betty in Maryland? Nice to see you. Coming back to the swing of things. Went and watched the eclipse yesterday up in Vermont. 8-hour journey. No, 8 hour. What am I saying? It was 12 hour, 11 hours. 11 hours it took us to get up and back. And that's with no traffic, but just get up there early, hanging out, watching it. It was incredible. And now we're back. I saw some questions. Just don't want to miss any. What's up, Connie? Finally catching up on the live trainings, diving deeper into reading rehearsal was so helpful. Yeah, super, Connie. And I would suggest if you haven't watched, go to the bonus section. Go to the bonus section in the membership site of the live calls. I would definitely check those out because those are all updated trainings. And I'm about to redo like kind of pro style the trainings anyways, but that's kind of you get those first. But I would definitely watch the redo rehearsal trainings, the very first one, so it'll be on the bottom. But that's the first one I would suggest you watch if that's not the one you're referring to already. But I redid a training on that, and that was a really good call we did. So yeah, that's good. And that's how it goes, Connie. You know what I mean? Again, I always try and tell people it's like we're looking to get better. You know, we really are. This is a skill. Mastering your weight is a skill. Like again, the closest thing I can say, and it's because I play guitar, but it just reminds me a whole lot of playing guitar. Like there's all these different parts of playing guitar, and you have to practice them. It's like playing basketball. You practice shooting and passing and dribbling and defense and all this stuff. You have to break the different components down, deep dive into them, then come back, work on a different component. And if that's too much for you, then tough shit. It's like some people with the diets, it's like, I don't know. You got to work at it. Like there's things you have to develop. Now, ironically, again, when you systematically and strategically work on things intelligently, you get good at them. And then just like reading and writing, you broke that down, you got good at it, and now you just do it automatically. So that's the payoff of doing it this way, as opposed to the dieting thing where you just force yourself to act different for a couple days, a couple weeks, and then go back to what you always do. It's like, holy shit. If you listen to me for any period of time and you're still trying to diet, but good job, Connie, because that's what it is. It's getting into it. It's getting caught up with life, coming back to it again, going deeper into it, understanding it more, getting caught up with life, coming back to it again, understanding it more, making it work for you. That's it. And it's simple. It's just simple. I mean, it takes consistency, I suppose, but everything takes consistency. What's up, Karen? How's it going? Amy said, I had another non-scale victory. My resting heart rate has dropped massively since looking after myself. Amy, that's great. And I love that. I always say this to everyone. I do this myself. I'm just kind of learning about heart rate variability, which is something I've never really paid attention to. So I'm learning more about that because I got a watch that tracks that even better. But I'm a huge fan of tracking, whether it's a watch or the Aura ring, whatever you got, anything you get outside of your just awareness, right? Is very important. It's like, so scientific instruments, right? So it's like if you were going to try and do science without microscope, telescopes, equipment for science that give us more ability to see the world, ultraviolet rays, you know what I mean? Like all these scientific tools we have to see things that our regular senses can't see. This is a good realization that we're not aware of a whole lot scientifically in the environment, and we're not a whole lot aware of what we're thinking and doing and feeling, honestly. So much of it's becoming aware of things. And so if you can use technology to help that along, I think that's always a helpful thing, because the more kind of feedback and data you get, kind of black and white, I think it impacts you in a very powerful way. So that's great, Amy. I love that, because not only that, but then the more benefits you get out of this that aren't just tied to the scale, I think you really set yourself up for success. It becomes a much firmer foundation under you. And I can tell you that's very important, because again, eventually the scale victories just fucking go away. The scale victories kind of just stop. I mean, at some point you get to your goal weight and then it just becomes, okay, this is it, and then you got to have something else to look forward to. Right. So, and there's lots of things to look forward to and improve and get better at and progress and all the rest of it. So great job, Amy. Robert says, it's like asking an alcoholic to not drink with friends. Yeah, well, that's kind of true. It's kind of true. It's challenging, but it's not quite the same. It's not quite the same. And I find that connections, it's like that a little bit, and it's not like that a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like when people compare food addiction to alcohol and like substance abuse addiction, I just find that to be there's obviously similarities, but there's also huge differences. And the big difference is how alcohol and substances affect your brain. Most food doesn't do that, but I hear you. It is harder, but you can do it. You can absolutely go with friends, or you can't, you know what I mean? Or you can't. I went through that too. So it's like, could I have kept my friends and got my weight under control, the rest of it, yes. But what ended up happening for me, and this is what I find happening to a lot of people, is as you start to really grow and evolve in this path, right? So what I'm talking about here is really not weight loss. It's weight loss wrapped in personal development. So it's much more of a personal development approach to mastering your weight. So for me, yeah, the weight was changing, but everything was changing within me. And so the big shift was, well, there was a lot of them, but one of the big ones is as I settled what was going on inside of me mentally, emotionally, the desire to want to overeat, the desire to want to get shit faced all the time began to decrease. And then I started to look at the people I was hanging out with and the things I was doing, and it just became a lot less appealing. So there's that too. So, you know, but the close relationships you got to maintain, you got to figure that out too. So that's a harder thing. I'm talking about much more casual relationships, the most intense relationships. And there were stresses there. There's a ton of stresses. When I first started getting healthier, I talk about this all the time. I'm Greek. My whole family situation, everything was fucking food. So as soon as you like let go of the food, that was a very difficult number of years. And then it continued being difficult, but you just kind of get used to it, So again, in that place, I had to stay stuck in a real bulletproof mindset. I didn't give a shit, and I did care. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And food is such an important way for so many people to kind of show how they feel about you. And that's what you bond over. So to let that go a bit is hard for a lot of people. And again, you either figure it out or you have this bulletproof mindset and you just get through it to the other side, where you sabotage yourself. Karen says, I've been so busy working, kept missing you. Oh yeah, Karen. I was gone yesterday and I'm actually gonna be gone for a couple days next week too. I'm going down to DC for a bit. Hope I can make it today at 3 if I can wrangle the kiddos and their homework. Yeah, we'll be on at 3, right? Exactly. So hope we get on there, Connie. Mario says, hey, Jim, I had a very confusing day today. Ate without restricting, but ended up eating a whole chocolate bar, but I'm not sure if it was a binge or not. Very confused. I have these days where I'm not sure if it was a binge or if I was just craving something really bad. I can unpack a bunch of stuff there. I'm not a huge fan. And I know a lot of dieters kind of know this now. I just want to go into a little more depth. The idea of like defining foods as good or bad, I get that. Now, in the context of wanting to lose weight, clearly there are foods that are going to be, foods that are better and foods that are worse for your weight loss, right? So in that context, good and bad, I get. In terms of like there are bad foods I shouldn't eat and there's good foods I should eat. I don't like the demonizing of food. Because in my world, we have pleasure days where again, the chocolate's not the problem. It's the amount of chocolate you eat when you eat it. And I'd rather see, can we moderate that behavior first? And I've seen overwhelmingly, most people are able to moderate their behaviors than have to completely get rid of, complete categories of food or types of food. That being said, I always say this when I talk about the pleasure days, it's not a free for all. Right. So again, I can't say this any more clearly. Every day on this earth, I realize more and more how important it is working with my clients here of structuring your eating, structuring it on the clean days, structuring it on the pleasure days. You've got to have some sense of what you're going to eat in your mind, or you're going to leave it up to your dopamine and you're going to make shitty decisions. And that's what's going to happen. And so, without restricting is not the same as eating with structure. Okay. There's a huge difference. So pleasure days, we're absolutely not restricting. We're not restricting. We are figuring out where is the sweet spot where I get the most pleasure out of what I eat tomorrow. It's a fucking idea that's so foreign to people. It just, a dieter can't even wrap their head around it. Even people get in the program, it takes them a couple of weeks at least. Even if they're brave enough to start right away, which they're usually not, it takes them at least a couple of weeks to get their head wrapped around this, because we never think in these terms because we associate pleasure with quantity, how much we're going to eat. And that's probably one of the biggest lies that we believe. Part of it's evolutionary, part of it's all the marketing and bullshit we get, and part of it's the diet industry always trying to restrict us. But yeah, Mario, you can't, no restricting is different than structuring. Okay. Because again, if you start a day with a free for all, I'm just going to eat what I want. Well, you're going to eat everything. Especially if you're overweight and you've struggled with eating and you're saying, I'm going to eat everything I want, you're going to way overeat. That's different than a pleasure day. A pleasure day is saying, where's the sweet spot? Because eating everything you can possibly eat is not the most pleasure. And if you don't believe me, let me know and we'll talk about it. But eating everything in sight is not the most pleasure. You've got to get over that idea. That idea is one of the core limiting beliefs that you have. that you believe eating as much as you can, eating without restriction, is the most pleasure you can have. You're afraid to give up your pleasure, and you struggle forever. And so once you get your head wrapped around the idea that, holy shit, as the quantity of food is not the main gauge of how much pleasure I'm experiencing with the food, that's a game changer. You can enjoy your food more eating less of it, is what I'm telling you. But yeah, so but Mario, great job experimenting, right? Again, a great job, because now you're in a better spot than you were, because you understand yourself more, you understand your chocolate eating, you understand, how to set your days up, how to structure things. You're better off now than you were. Okay. And that's the point we're trying to always make. What's up, Shayla? I've been using your mindset guidance and seeing some changes. That's awesome, Shayla. One thing I'd suggest, if you're not, is make sure you go to my bio, click the link at the hypnosis session, but watch the video. Watch that video. It's 3 steps to master your weight right now. I'm about to change it to 2 steps to master your weight, and we're re-recording a new training for that, which is awesome. But it'll give you a lot of mindset stuff. Yeah, the new training coming out for that one's awesome, because it's going to talk about, I'll break down the whole weight mastery pyramid for you, and talk about the 2 steps to mastering your weight. But great job, Shayla. Great job putting work in. Vanessa says, plus they are optional, but we have to eat. Yeah, exactly. And Vanessa's referring, again, I was just talking about addictions, and I'm not a huge fan of the connection, the equivalency of food addiction being like alcohol and substance abuse addiction. I don't like that, because it just, again, there are similarities, but there's also giant differences. You can't tell me that, alcohol and substances inebriate you. Oh, sugar inebriates you. Oh, yeah, the same. I understand, don't get fucking pulled over for being drunk on sugar, or being inebriated on sugar or flour or pizza. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge part of the thing. Oh, sugar lights up the same pleasure centers as the cocaine. Yeah, but to like a level 1, cocaine lights it up to a level 50. So it's like, you know what I mean? I just don't buy into that. Are there some people that are literally, it's like the same thing? Sure, because there's always outliers. There's 8 billion people on the planet. So yeah, there are some of those people. You're probably not one of them. So again, in my world, I think there's, again, I live in the gray space, which I am so lucky. I'm a hypnotist. So I don't have to, what I'm saying, I'm not a scientist. Okay. So I don't have to base my shit around science. I base my shit around what works for people. And what I see working for the majority of people that I've worked with, and for myself, is approaching weight, understanding there's aspects of that are addictive. So I think understanding an addiction model, having some awareness of an addiction model when it comes to changing your weight, I think is helpful. Defining it only as an addiction, I don't think is helpful. That's going to end you up in an OA or Bright Lines. And I think that approach is extremely strict. And again, as you just said, Vanessa, this isn't an optional thing. You got to eat. So it comes up with this very unique category in my world where it's a managed addiction. And that's how I refer to it. And I think managed addictions require different strategies than an abstinence, an abstinence model to deal with addiction, which would be alcohol, substances, gambling, things you don't have to do. So they're two totally different things in that sense. And so they require different strategies. And so I think I love that conversation too, because I'm reading a book right now, and it's really interesting to me. Really, really, really interesting. It's called Rational Recovery. I don't know where this all went. I guess it got kind of created in the 90s. Again, this is a shout out to Jody. I don't know if Jody's here, but she kind of told me about this through Brain Over Binge, which was a book about a woman's kind of struggle in overcoming bulimia. And that kind of led me to this rational recovery model. And I think it's very interesting. It's definitely, it's so in line with what I do, but it's a slightly different angle. It's all about kind of the voices in our head, right? And specifically the addictive voice that we all have and how to deal with that. So it is fascinating. And one concept he brings up, is AA. I would never put AA down, because AA has helped so many people. But at the same time, AA is like the only model that is out there, so he came up with an alternative model. And the core of it that it gets to, and I know this will ruffle feathers, but is the idea that it's not a disease, right? And I get in arguments with people all the time with this, because I don't know. And again, this is not my specialty, but I will say this, and get upset if you want, and explain to me how I'm wrong if you would like to as well. But addiction, if it is a disease, it is the only disease that you can decide not to have. Now, I know there's more to it. I understand that. But you have to understand, I'm looking at it from the perspective of all the people that were alcoholics or drug abusers that no longer are, that literally that are living in sobriety, a year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Okay. How did they do it? And this is what makes neurolinguistic programming so unique, in my opinion. This is what everything we're talking about is built around this. I'm just putting a different context, because what I did that was different from pretty much everyone that wants to lose weight is I found the people that successfully lost weight and kept it off for a number of years. Those are the people I've been obsessed with for 30 years. I'm not obsessed with the people that are always just telling you how to lose weight quickly. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. People that lose weight for lost 30 pounds last month. Don't care. Don't care. Because the strategy you use to lose 30 pounds in a month probably aren't going to last long. That's what I've seen. And so I've been obsessed for 30 years with people that successfully are able to lose weight and keep it off. And what you find very quickly is they have much different approach than what everyone else is trying to do. And no one talks about it. And when it comes to drug and alcohol abuse, it's the same type of thing that, because if you believe the disease model, and the reason I'm spending time on this is the disease model funnels down now into the weight, right? Isn't that where we're at with the medicines? Because the medical establishment loves to define things as diseases. That's with their wheelhouse, right? Because when it only tells you got a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So there is that aspect again. And I love AA. I think it's been great, but again, it's the only model we get out there, and it's built around the disease model. And so this rational recovery book is just a different paradigm, and it's very jarring at first, even for me. But it's jarring at first to look at things that we've been trained to think of as a disease and say, no, it's not a disease. And then you look at the people, all the people, every single person, every fucking person who's ever been an alcoholic or has been a drug addict who is no longer one. Well, what happened? They had the disease and then they didn't have it. What changed? How did that stop? Well, it was recovery. Okay, but what specifically? It wasn't anything physical. They didn't take a pill that fixed it. So what changes? I know I'm simplifying. I understand that. But I think sometimes when we simplify this, it clarifies that what it finally gets down to is a person decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And I know when someone's in the midst of it, it's a different decision than when they kind of start to get a handle on it, they get to a different point. But how would we describe that it's anything other than someone deciding they don't want to live that way anymore? And so the reason I bring that up to you is because you, with your weight, you've got all this stuff in your head now, especially with the Ozempic, because they're trying to say that it's not your fault. It's just your body. You're always hungry. So it's not you, it's your genetics. And I'm not saying there aren't genetic factors, by the way. Okay, there are. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to a decision of how much stuff you're going to put in your mouth. Right? For most of us. So anyways, Shayla says, truly believing you're a healthy person. Yeah, Shayla, exactly. Yeah, the more you believe, that again goes right on with what I'm saying. I mean, it's our identity. It's our self-image. And, and I struggled with alcohol at one point too. I was a crazy binge drinker. I was out of control. I never felt the alcoholic label. I just resisted it. That didn't work for me. And I've been able to get a handle on it. Okay. So a lot of it does come back down to your identity though, like how you think about yourself. That's why I love this book, this Rational Recovery. He talks a lot about what we talk about in the program in terms of voices, right? And he talks about the addictive voice. And he basically says, and I love this framing. He'll say like, because a lot of times, even with the weight, you'll say like, oh, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to food. I love sweets. I love, eating pizza. And it starts to become like, the more you can make a distinction between, well, there's a part of me that loves eating pizza. There's a part of me that loves eating sugar, but there's another part of me that wants to be healthy, wants to weigh what I want to weigh, wants to do what I want to do, and live the way I want to live. And so there's a distinction between those voices. A lot of times when we identify with the addictive voice, it's very difficult to change our behavior because that's our identity. And when we start to create a little daylight between the addictive voice and our other voice, who we really are, it's very transformative. And that's what I always, with Program Yourself Thin, the core of what we're looking to do right from the beginning is create a new identity for you. Who do you want to be? What's the best version of you? And we start to clarify that voice. And again, it's just a different way up the same mountain, really, because as you start to clarify the ideal you and how that version of you talks to you, you start to become more aware of the negative thoughts in your head that drive a lot of the overeating behaviors. There's a voice there leading to it, folks. You don't just behave in a certain way. You're thinking to yourself, which leads to feelings, and then it leads to the behavior. And it's all happening on autopilot. You have no sense of any of it. But as you start to unpack it and become aware of it, it becomes very obvious why you're doing what you're doing, even to the point that you want to do it. You literally want to do it. So anyways, it's fascinating because I'm always in weight loss world, but I study a lot of addiction. I'm obsessed with addiction as well, because I think there's a lot of crossover there. And I think this approach to even substance abuse addiction is very fascinating. So anyways, I'll be sharing more of that as we go on, but I think you're right, Shayla, that it is about believing you're a healthy person. And if you think about it, you're never getting that message anywhere and nothing's reinforcing that for you. So again, this is the reason I made Program Yourself Thin, because it's this 8-week cocoon where it's really reinforcing this message that you are a thin, healthy person as well. And we start to nurture that, and nourish it, and grow it, and evolve it, and you become that version of you. That's the goal, you know. But it says you can't stop eating like you do with drugs or alcohol. Yep, exactly. Yes, everything's good in Greece. I mean, food. Yeah, right. Sure, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, we're in a. I always say this too. Like, we're in an alien environment at this point. You know, we really are. We're humans living in an alien environment. We've been blasted off to a different planet, and here we're living now. That's kind of how you should think about it, because the food we're surrounded by, the environment, and as well, it's so alien to us. And our evolved brain, our evolved human brain, is not really built to thrive health wise in this environment. They call it an obesogenic environment. And so we've got to learn. The only choice we have, I think, is to upgrade our mind. Now we can do that. That's the good news. Our prefrontal cortex is the newest part of our brain. We can evolve very quickly. It's wonderful being a human. Okay. We can evolve a lot quicker than other animals. So I think it's important, you know, that we look at it that way. Where are we at here? Where are we at? I'm gonna say I just tuned in and preach. Thanks, Anna. I know. Get all worked up. Every time I take like a couple days off, I get all worked up. Still adapting to pleasure eating. It's taken me forever in my diet brain, but I'm learning. Yeah. Oh, Connie, that's right. Right. So I like how you put forever in quotes, right? Because I think this is so much of the process is you're learning to understand yourself. I mean, Program Yourself is absolutely 100%. That's the model. We're looking to become more aware. I always say awareness precedes change. And so we're looking to become more aware of our behaviors, of our thought patterns, or our feeling patterns. And once we start to become aware of them, then we can strategically influence them. So yeah, of course, Connie, it's going to take you a little while. I mean, this is, you know, for most people, the average person in my program is between 40 and 60. So we're talking like 40 years of ingrained behaviors that you're looking to change. If you don't like that way of thinking about it and you just want the easy diet, then great. But it's work. We're putting in work here, you know, and again, you got to be strategic with it. But yeah, Connie, so adapting pleasure, it's taken me forever, because forever, it feels like forever, but it's been what, 3 weeks compared to 40 years? You know what I mean? So we always have to compare time relatively, because our experience of it is, you know, that we can't trust our experience of time. Our brain's not very good at really appreciating the actual passage of time. And so we could, by the way, this is why your diets don't work. There's just one more reason, because every time you go on a diet and the more strict you go on it, the more this effect happens, that when you go on a diet, you experience time distortion. You start your stupid keto plan and you're going to, like, every day feels like a week, and you get to the end of the week and it feels like you've been on it for 2 months, and you step on the scale and you lost a pound, 2 pounds. And you're like, oh my God, you know? So this is a big reason why you can't stick with your diets. You experience time distortion because you hate the diet. So yeah, time distortion happens all the time. You can't avoid it pretty much, especially when I lose weight. Mario says, I honestly believe eating as much as possible is the most pleasure I can have. Yeah, Mario, exactly. I know you believe that, but it's not true, you know? So I'm not just sit here and tell you it's not true, right? But here's how you figure it out. And again, this is up for you. So maybe it is. So, you know, this always leads me, Mario, listen, you always got a choice. We all always have a choice. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, losing weight's the best thing. You got to lose weight. You never have to lose weight. No one in the world has to lose weight. I don't give a shit. Your hip could be falling apart. Your heart could be about to explode. You still don't have to lose weight. People kill themselves all the time with food and weight. All the time. It's the norm. It's becoming the norm. It and smoking are the 2 number 1 causes of preventable death. So no one fucking has to lose weight. You can eat yourself right to death. My dad did it. I was around a path. I could have followed him. So no one has to lose weight. Not a single person on the planet has to lose weight. You get to choose to lose weight if you want to. If your quality of life would be better, losing weight, being healthier, being happier in that way than eating all the food all the time, then make that choice. But a lot of people don't feel like that's really going to be much better. And so they choose the food. And in that case, I say, enjoy yourself. You're going to do what you want to do anyways. I feel like living your life on the fence is the most uncomfortable way to live. And to live with that, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I don't really care. I like the food. Oh, I want to lose weight. Oh my God, back and forth. Just enjoy the food. You know, that's what I'm saying to you, Mario. Really sit with that thought. I honestly believe eating as much as possible is the most pleasure I can have, because that means that eating at your goal weight wouldn't be any more pleasurable than eating everything in front of you being overweight. You know, zoom back and watch yourself. Imagine watching yourself eating as much as possible at your current weight and notice how full of pleasure you are. Right? Because if that's the most pleasure you can have, right? Let me frame it a different way. The most pleasure I can have. Well, I'll give you a pleasurable thing that I can have. I did it yesterday. Hang out with my family and watching the eclipse is one of the most pleasurable things I've ever done. Okay. So when I zoom out and imagine watching myself watching the eclipse with my family, I'm filled with more pleasure. Okay. So if the most pleasurable thing is truly pleasurable, you could zoom out, imagine yourself watching yourself doing the most pleasurable thing. I'm getting a massage. Massages are really pleasurable. I zoom out and imagine myself getting a massage. That's pleasurable. Okay. Now you think eating the most food possible is the most pleasure you can possibly get. So zoom out, imagine yourself at your current weight, eating whatever it is that you stuff in your face, like eating it exactly the way you eat it. Imagine watching yourself though. Are you filled with pleasure when you imagine that? If you're not, then is it the most pleasurable thing? Well, you decide that. And I feel okay, which is amazing. Yeah, Connie, exactly. You feel more okay. It's just getting normal with it. I will tell you, the thing that blows my mind to this day, I've been playing guitar for 30 years, is I will play a song. It's always the same thing. It's literally, it's been the same thing for 30 years. I don't know if this ever changes, but it's like, I'll learn a new song. I just learned a new song last week. This doesn't sound like it, whatever. I just want to get the finger now. A couple days go by. A couple days. And all of a sudden, what the fuck? How'd that happen? How did it happen? It didn't happen here. It happened when I wasn't doing it. So a lot of times we have to give ourselves more time, because when we do something new, it takes time for it all to just kind of make sense. I'm making that as simplistic as I could say, but that's how it is with dieting again. And you have to understand, you have been conditioned to think like a dieter, which is the biggest conspiracy, I swear, after the food, the food industry, but the diet conspiracy is so huge. You've been trained to think like a dieter. And when it comes to dieting, there's nothing you're learning. Right? Oh, I just got to stop eating carbs. Now I'm just going to and I'm just going to stop eating them. As if you've got such control over your eating that you could just decide to stop eating carbs from now on. No, you're not going to do it. This shit blows my mind. It really does. I mean, I deal with it every day. So sometimes I just kind of lose sight of it. But the idea that you have the gall to think like you're going to start your keto plan tomorrow and actually do it for long. Like what? You haven't been able to control your eating your entire life, but now you're going to pick the most strict meal plan, and that's the one you're going to be perfect with. Like, am I crazy? I don't know. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm the craziest person on the planet. I don't know what a dieter thinks when they decide to go on a keto plan or some strict diet like that. Like, it's like, are you just completely blocking out your entire history with eating? I don't understand it. But it takes time. Things take time, right? You can enjoy your food by eating less. I love this. Yeah, of course you can. Because how do you enjoy your food more by eating less? Because you get to eat the food still and enjoy it. And you get to feel good about your body and your health and your happiness and who you are as a person. How could that not be more enjoyable? People say that to me all the time. Fucking crazy people are. They're like, oh, Jim, I could never eat like you. I love food too much. Well, I bet I love food more than you. Bet you I do. I bet next time, let's go eat some Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I bet I enjoy it more than you do, because I'm eating it and there's no shame. There's no guilt. You let me know how you feel about the ice cream 5 minutes after you finish it, and then come ask me how I feel. I feel fine. A little phlegmy. Okay. But I feel fine. I'm at the same weight. I'm fine. Be right back on track. Doesn't matter. And you go in your shame, guilt, denial spiral. How's that pleasurable? How the fuck is that pleasurable? Am I crazy? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I'm in a weird mood today. Maybe I'm nuts. We have to eat. We don't need to booze and drugs. Absolutely. Alcohol is the only drug that needs medicine for withdrawals. You can have seizures if not. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Alcohol. Alcohol addiction is real. I'm definitely not, I'm not denying that addiction's real. I'm just saying that it's the only disease, if it is a disease, that you can decide not to have. But ultimately, you have to decide you want to stop. Yeah, exactly. And that's the point, is that I'm trying to highlight the parts. I know there's more to it, obviously, but I'm trying to highlight the part that because here's the thing: if you wrap your head around this mindset, the most intense alcoholic, the most intense heroin addict, the most intense cocaine addicts have stopped using those things forever. How'd they do it? They decided to do it. What the fuck? Give me one other how'd they do it? Give me one other way that an addict becomes not an addict anymore. It happens every single day, millions of times a year. So what do they all have in common? They're all diseased, and they all cure the disease? They manage the disease? What do? They go from having the disease to not exhibiting the symptoms of the disease. However you want to describe it, and it all comes back to their decision. They decided not to do it. Isn't that not true? Again, I know I'm simplifying it, but the reason I say that is because we're in a situation. Do you understand how much money's made off of you being overweight, unhealthy, and unhappy? It's like 80% of the economy. So don't you realize there's a lot of motivation to keep you feeling powerless? And the disease model is that you're addicted. That's why I can't stand the Oprah Winfrey shit. It's like the Ozempic stuff. And again, I'm not. There's a time and place for that, but I'm just saying, like, people that are on Ozempic, I know they're so desperate, but I also know that they have no strategy. They've done nothing that I'm talking about either. Will it work for them? I don't know, but I know they haven't tried it. And here they are putting this shit in their body. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they'll do a long term, maybe they won't. But ultimately, it's a mindset thing, right? Isn't that what we can learn from every addict who stops using drugs and alcohol forever? Is that it was a mindset thing primarily? Is that not it? I don't know. I think AA is outdated, needs some changes. Yep. Jody says, you gave me my life back. My relationships are flourishing. My anxiety around food is minimal. Yeah, there's Jody. So yeah, again, that's the big thing. And I was really thinking that yesterday. I don't know. I just had time to think, we're sitting there waiting for the eclipse, and then it happens. It's bonkers. And I don't know, it just makes you think about some stuff, drive a lot. But I'm like, I think this is part of I think there's a conspiracy to keep you all overweight. I truly do. And I think a huge part of that conspiracy is the diet industry. I think the diet industry is literally programming you to be overweight forever. And I think part of that programming is that, you think about your desire to lose weight is mainly because you want to look better. And I will tell you, at 50 years old almost, having done yoga for 30 years and really mastering my weight, my health for 30 years, I don't know what the fuck people are thinking as they're turning 50 who have not been focusing on this. I don't understand. I don't give a shit how I look. I mean, I care a little bit, but almost all of my motivation is I want to feel good. I want to live as long as I can. I don't know how people aren't. I don't know. Because I was thinking like what makes the difference when someone finally makes a decision to actually change something? Well, it's a process called internalization. I did this. So if you get in my world, I send you the motivation thing. I get the whole Spark program. I give you like 5 tools for free. Good stuff, and the motivation piece, and the 50-minute motivation challenge I give you, it's basically trying to get through your head to internalize what's really at stake here. Yeah, I know you want to wear a bathing suit to the beach, but how long would you like to be alive for? Like, this is about your life. How long you're going to be alive, when you're going to die, how your quality of life during your life is going to be. And it's like, you've been conditioned to ignore that. The diet industry has conditioned you to ignore the actual most consequential parts of your eating decisions over a lifetime, which are literally what you're putting in your mouth consistently is probably going to be the number one factor that impacts how long you're alive for and your quality of life during those years. And you just want to fucking wear a bathing suit to the beach. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's not enough motivation. It's not up to the task. And speaking of drug and alcohol addiction, if I went to an alcoholic and say, hey, you should stop drinking, you could drop a couple pounds. That alcohol, you drop a couple pounds, you can wear a bathing suit to the beach. Hey, you should stop doing that heroin. It's giving you kind of a weird kind of coloration to your skin. If you stop doing the heroin, your skin would look a lot healthier. Okay. Like, what? Is that going to fucking stop any addict? No, it's not. Is it going to stop you from being food addicted? Nope, it's not. And it hasn't, and it's not going to, and it won't. It doesn't mean anything to you, Issa says, experimenting, it takes me 4 hours before I enjoy food again. Any sooner, it's blah. Yeah, currently experimenting for 4 hours. That's great. I think the same thing, Issa. Yesterday I was eating, I had I ate 4 sandwiches because I consider one of them an open faced peanut butter sandwich. But I ate 4 sandwiches. I was eating close. I was like, yeah, it's not even, because I was like, oh, I'll just eat whatever I want. The clips to eat more. And it's like, it gets less and less enjoyable the more shit you're shoveling in your face. I'm telling you, like, you're not even enjoying the food. You think you're enjoying it so much, you're not. You're just managing an addiction. Like, again, it is addiction in that sense that you're not even enjoying the food. You're just managing like how you feel shitty. You're really not enjoying the food. I know you don't believe me, but people in the program always figure this out. Once they start having clean and pleasure days and you start really having some real clarity to what, clean eating and pleasure eating is, you don't even realize how shitty you feel and how much you're not even enjoying the food. I know you don't believe me, but yeah, it takes a little while. I mean, your hunger, well, they say hunger is the best sauce. Hunger is important for the quality, how much you enjoy the food. And if you're just like eating, like you're constantly grazing, you're not really enjoying the food. You're just trying to manage the boredom, if that makes sense. Blend a healthy life. It's destroying our gut microbiome. Everything's destroying our gut microbiome in this culture, so that's true. Do you have a bird? Do you hear a bird? I can hear it outside. I got birds out my window. That might be what you're hearing. I do not have a bird. I used to have a bird when I was a kid. We used to call it Larry Bird, and it was one bird, and that's kind of a weird pet. People have birds. I had a friend who had a big old, like a parrot, like thousands of dollar parrot. That was pretty cool. So I thought the same thing about pleasure and food. Kept digging, and you'll be shocked. Yeah, Connie, exactly. Thank you, Connie, for saying that. Yeah, all of you that think that eating like pleasure is linked to how much you eat. Yeah, you got to get over that. It's not true. I can't sit here and tell you it's not true. You don't believe me. But again, program yourself thin. That's one of the things. Things are set up so you can realize that's not true. Because once you realize that's not true, it's a very profound moment. Very profound. Because imagine how much easier it'd be for you to master your weight if you realize that how much you eat isn't the main thing impacting how pleasurable the food is for you. Connie says, I can't tell you whether I love your fire around keto or Ozempic more. Yeah, right. But no, they both get me all worked up. Thanks, Deanna. How's it going, Deanna? You get on the call tonight. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks here. There are hard truths. I was thinking that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like it's like a little nerve-wracking to get on here, to be honest. I will be honest. Sometimes I'm just like, Jesus, when's it gonna be these guys gonna kick me off of here and not let me say this shit? I don't know. Because aiming at a lot of powerful industries, but it's nice thing not being too popular. But it's just you see the world this way, you're just like, good Lord. It seems so obvious. Yeah, keto and Ozempic though, I don't know. I think I relate to your rage around it because I was duped by both. Yeah, okay, Connie, that's what I mean. And I'm just I'm projecting that because I have these conversations every day, all day about stupid diets and cures that just treat the symptoms, and it's just, and then what it always leads back to though is a person telling me this who feels powerless, so, and then I go back and I'm like, oh, my dad died of 54 heart attacks. So this is real consequences. So it's like, I cycle through this all day long. I've been doing this my entire life because it's like, I just want to let go. I don't care who gives a shit. But I'm like, no, this is real. This is real. Like people are dying because of what they can't stop eating. Like they're dying. They're having a shitty quality of life the last 20 years of their life. I don't know about 20 years. Cause like I said, I'm 50. I'm in my body already. It's like, holy shit, you gotta be careful. Like I eat sugar, my body hurts. I don't know. Maybe you're not like that. Maybe I'm just real sensitive, but it's like, flexibility, comfort in my body, it's becoming a real full-time job. And it's been a full-time job. It's become a more full-time job. Maybe I'm just weird that way, but I don't know how anyone here who's getting close to 50 or beyond isn't really concerned with their quality of life. Like I think about it all the time. I don't know. I was thinking a lot about it. I don't know. Like, I guess I had a lot of time to think yesterday. So I guess I get the brunt of all my thoughts. But I was like, I don't know. And I'm at my goal weight and my body's kind of sore sometimes. So I'm like, man, if I was carrying an extra 50 pounds around, because that's like one of those things one of the problems with weight is that you habituate to it in real time, right? You can only put the weight on a pound at a time. And so you kind of habituate to it. And so it would be different if like you woke up this morning and you were 50 pounds heavier. right? Because holy shit, oh my God, this is a lot of extra weight to carry. I'm tired. Oh my God, this is hard. It's hard climbing these stairs. You would realize just how much it's zapping your energy, you know? And but what happens, it comes on a pound at a time, or it's been on so long you don't realize you know what it's like to be without it. But one of the things I like to do, it's the pet food motivation trick, is that you go, I should make a video on that one. I haven't made one in a while. I'll do one of those. Trying to make a bunch of videos before I go away next week. And I'll be back Wednesday, folks, in my program. So Wednesday, everything returns back normal, but Tuesday night's call will not happen. But yeah, the pet food motivation trick's as simple as going to your supermarket, pet food store, go pick up, again, depending on how much weight you have to lose, go find a bag of dog food that's the closest to that weight, right? So you got 50 pounds, just go find a 50-pound bag of dog food, hold it in your arms for a few minutes, walk around, walk up and down the aisle a minute with that. Just internalize how much extra energy that takes to walk around with all that weight. You're not thinking of it that way. You've disassociated your body from your weight, and you think of your weight primarily as this visual thing. Do you understand that? I could get in depth, and I'm going to do this, the in depth on the diet shenanigans they're pulling on you. You've been hypnotized, literally hypnotized, to think like a dieter. And part of that thinking like a dieter is that you have disassociated the actual, okay, let me frame it a different way. It's like cigarettes. Cigarettes back in the 50s, I don't think anyone thought they were healthy for you, but no one really thought they were that bad for you either. And so their awareness of what it was doing in their body was not enough for them to realize what it was doing in their body. It wasn't until we had nonstop education about what these cigarettes do to you that people finally like, oh my God, and now they associate, I don't like that. But it was never, no one's going to stop smoking just because their fingers are a little yellow. That's not what's stopping people. It's usually that they're realizing, holy shit, I'm going to lose 10, 20, 30 years of my life. Well, the same thing's going on with weight. One of the best things you can look for, kind of the canary in the coal mine, is the Framingham Heart Study. One of the biggest studies they've been doing for ongoing. It's been I forget how long it's been going on. It's one of the longest lasting studies. But women, I'm going to blank the numbers a little bit here. I haven't referred to these in a while, but overweight women, I think, had 5 years less of life. And I think obese women were 7 years less. But I mean, like, again, you're not thinking about your weight in that way. And there's a reason why, because the food companies, the diet companies, the medical establishment, they don't want you to not be overweight, because their whole business model depends on you eating all their food, being overweight so you can try and lose weight, diet industry, and then being overweight so you have all sorts of medical issues that you need medicine to fix. So again, let's be honest. I mean, money, is it not 2024 in America? Do we not know that money, everything's money? Like, is that's not a crazy thought, right? Right? Is it? I think we clearly know that money is running the show. And so there's a lot of money being made off of you not really thinking about, what the weight's doing to my body. You're right in the sweet spot when all you do, you just want to lose weight so I can look better. I just want to wear that bikini. I want to be a before and after picture. Yeah, keep thinking like that. It feeds right into it, because you don't give a shit about that stuff. Anyways, it hasn't worked. Okay? The real story is what's going on inside of your body. Your blood sugar, your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your veins, your arteries, your muscles, your tendons, your joints. That's the story. Where you're going to be the last 50 years of your life. Not to bum you all out. I don't want to bum you all out, but I mean, that's the core of it. That's the difference between your motivation and my motivation right there. For me, yeah, I want to look better. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? That's the 10% of it. The other 90% is I want to live as long as I can. And I want to have the best quality of life while I'm alive. And you never think that. You don't. You say health, and it's just this, it's like, it should mean more to me, but it just doesn't. You're motivated to want to look better, and that motivation's nothing. It's never going to get the job done. Nah, you don't give a shit. Tell me you do. Tell me you give a shit about how much you look. I mean, I'll be about overweight for 20 years, but I'm really motivated. I want to look better. Tell me that. Please write that down. Thank you for being here and sharing. Way too many people around me using hacks. It's hard work initially. Exactly. It just is. What do you want? I just come at, I guess, because I've walked multiple mastery paths: guitar, yoga, meditation, basketball, if I want to consider that. I'm still playing it. And it's like, yeah, it's everything that you do in life you're going to be good at. It's going to be hard initially. I mean, tough shit. What are you going to do? What do you just always look for a hack? You know what I mean? Like one of those people that wants to learn to play the piano, and all you do is you got 50 books on your shelf that say learn piano in 6 days, learn in 3 hours, master it in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, no, just do the fucking work. Stop looking for shortcuts, because that's what the whole diet industry is. And what have these shortcuts gotten you? Where are you at now? Not only the shortcuts not worked, but now you've wasted 10, 20, 30, 40 years and you haven't fucking learned anything. You're no better off with your weight loss than before that. So just get on the path. It's harder than you think at first. It's slower at first than you think, and then it's faster than you ever imagined. There's a great quote that most people overestimate how much weight they can lose in a month and underestimate how much weight they can lose in a year. And the diet industry has gotten you absolutely, you are literally in a mental prison. You are shackled, chained to the diet mindset. And it's not a mistake. It's very intentional to get you to think like a dieter. And you've got to let that go. It's the first step to mastering your weight. You got to stop thinking like a fucking dieter. There's no doubt about that. How many dieters you know that are at their goal weight successfully, happily? Deanna says, I have a couple of friends who got gastric bypass and somehow still end up putting weight back on, which makes me wonder if that's going to happen with these medicines. Well, Deanna, I'm glad you said that. It's very common for the bariatric surgeries and lap bands for the people who put the weight back on. And with Ozempic, I think we're going to find the same thing. I think it's going to bring you to a level. The Ozempic drives me fucking insane. And that's it was driving me insane. I always just assume the worst for all this stuff anyways, but then I researched it a bit. What it does is it increases your GLP-1 hormone, and that's a hormone your gut creates. And it triggers satiety in your body. It kind of quiets the food noise. It makes you feel, oh, we're full. We've had enough food. And so the whole idea of Ozempic, so people are like, oh, should I do Ozempic? What do you thought of Ozempic? I guess I've got a more nuanced idea now. If you don't want to change any of your diet, like you just want to you don't have any time to change anything mindset-wise, diet-wise, and you just want to eat the same, then yeah, take Ozempic, because you'll still be able to eat the same shit, and then you'll feel full and you may lose weight. You'll feel nauseous and all the other negative stuff of it too, but whatever. But there's a natural way to increase GLP-1 hormone. You're never going to guess what it is. It's the most obvious answer, and it's the last one you'd probably come to. It's eating healthier food. What's healthier food though? Fiber. Fiber is the number one thing I find that people are not having in their diet. I know protein, folks. We all know protein. So yes, protein helps too. But fiber is the biggest one missing from most people's diets. And the fiber I'm talking about is not Metamucil. It's eating more fruits, vegetables, greens, beans. You put those in your diet, and I bet you'll miraculously have amazing Ozempic-like effects on your hunger and food noises. And so, again, this is where I come back to. I watched the Oprah thing. I watched the Cleveland Clinic doctor, the fucking a leader in his field in the world. And here I am, some dipshit hypnotist telling you to eat fucking fiber because he'll give you the same effects. He doesn't mention anything about what you're eating. So this is the world we live in. You know what I mean? Like again, he seemed like a nice guy. I'm not, whatever. He gets paid. I'm sure he gets paid out the nose by these companies. And they said he has to, the doctors they have on there, they're advisors for the Ozempic company. I forget who makes Ozempic, but, you're not getting straight answers, folks. I mean, do you not fucking know that by this point? I don't know. Maybe you don't. I take a lot for granted, because this is the world I live in. But anyways, whole U.S. economy equals trash food stuff and Taylor Swift tickets. It seems like that, right? It seems like that. It seems like the whole U.S. economy is, trash food stuff, Taylor Swift tickets, and like cars and streaming services. What's up, Heather? I want to surround myself with like-minded, but my husband won't get on board. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Heather, it's funny. We just talked about that, how, eating healthier affects the relationships in your life. So it's a real challenge. Yeah. Like it's a very common challenge, because you might find a lot of your bonding time is unhealthy foods. Oh, let's go to the bar. We'll go, get some wings and shit like that. And that's how you bond. And so it's like, that's got to be dealt with. And you can deal with it, but it's like that's the stuff that needs to be dealt with more than anything. The eating better, like ironically, like the making better food choices. I know everyone think, oh, that's why it's hard. It's not. It's more subtle things than that. So it may, I usually go out, a couple times a week with my husband. We go to the bar and get chicken wings. And it's like, oh, well, that's how we bond. And it's like, okay. So it's like, it's not that you can't say no to chicken wings. You may not even enjoy them that much, but it's like, you're saying no to the bonding. Just what I'm saying. So there's always like these deeper subconscious reasons why we're doing stuff. And as you start to understand what they are, then you can resolve them. But it's not like, again, the diet mindset, you're looking at things so simplistically. Because what do you think? You think willpower is going to overcome all? Do you see? Then that's a good example. Let's stick with that for a second. Let's just say, I'm not saying, Heather, this is what you're dealing with, but this is a common one where it's like, oh, I go out for wings with my husband. Okay. And it's like, you could probably take or leave the wings, but it's like, if you don't eat the wings, now it makes things feel weird. So it's really not a question of whether I could say no to the wings. It's a question, I don't want to say no to my husband. Do you see what I mean? And that works both ways. It works husbands, wives. We all have these routines we've gotten used to. And when we break the routines, it makes things feel weird, you know? So, but that's just a real good example of like that. There's a much deeper level of what's going on than you've been led to believe, because you've been led to believe as a dieter that you just need willpower and just say no to everything. That's your plan in a nutshell. And you wonder why it doesn't work, but it's because you have no alternative way of seeing things. Again, that is why I get out here every day, every weekday, and do this for free, to try and get this information out to the world here, that there's a lot more going on than just that diet, that thin diet veneer, right? You wonder why it doesn't work, which I don't even mind that it doesn't work. I mind that people are like, it's me, I'm the problem, you know? And so it makes people feel powerless, and that powerless leads to them living less long and having shittier qualities of life. And so for me, this is as important as anything in life. It's life or death to me. It's like trying to tell people to stop smoking. You know what I mean? Like back in the 70s when people didn't know. That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like I'm trying to do here. Get the words out, you know? The dipshit hypnotist. You like that one? I've been trying a Big Apple for afternoon snack. Been great. Yeah. I know, because I still remember when I started eating apples, and I remember the first week I was like, okay, I'll try any apple. I heard they're better. And it's like, nah, I'm still hungry. But then, you know, what happens when you eat real food is it takes a week or two for it to kind of accumulate and start doing its work. Probably like Ozempic. I don't know how fast Ozempic works for people typically, but it's like the fiber takes a couple days, couple weeks to kind of do its job, and then it starts working. And so we've been conditioned to think like an apple, man, that's not going to do it. Because you think, I find a lot of people, it was a big deal to me when I realized it's not calories that are making me full. That was a huge moment for me in my life. Because I always thought it's the amount of calories you're eating that's satisfying your hunger. It ain't. It's part of it, a small part, because you have to have enough calories. Your body needs enough calories to send you a hunger signal. But guess what else sends hunger signals? When you're not getting enough nutrients. So you eat fast food, junk food all the time, you're not getting the micronutrients your body needs. So guess what? Your body sends you a hunger signal. You're not eating enough fiber. So the fiber is not in your gut. We've evolved over millions of years to have a bunch of fiber in our gut. Paleo person, for all you paleo people, they're now finding out they were eating 130 grams of fiber a day. So fiber has been the thing in our guts that's not there now, probably more than anything. Okay. So you don't get enough micronutrients. You don't get enough fiber. You don't get enough water, right? Because we used to eat most of our water. And so if you don't get the water, your body sends you a hunger signal. You don't get the fiber, your body sends you a hunger signal to eat. It wants more fiber. You don't get enough micronutrients, eat. Your body needs more fiber. And so it's not just calories, it's the volume of food, it's the micronutrients in it, it's the hydration, water content of it, it's the fiber of it. You've probably never heard that. Like I never knew that. I thought it was, how the fuck am I always hungry? I just keep eating. I'm still always hungry. It's called the endless hunger. Never got full. I could just keep on. I used to eat breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. Do it all over again. 7 days a week. Never got full. Never was full. Could always eat. You know? What was I eating though? Yeah, what was I eating? I was eating all processed food and sugar. You know, my dinners were always pretty solid. My mom hooked it up. You know what I mean? Solid food. Now a lot of carbs, you know, a lot of fat, you know, a lot of salt, all the rest of it. But it was whole foods. You know, it wasn't a lot of processed foods. Thank God. You know. Deanna says, "What exactly is a micronutrient? Nutrients, vitamins, minerals. The simple way to think about it is really just natural foods. You know, that's it. That was from my raw food days. Without much science, a lot of those people were not scientists, but they got a very important point across that they would say, you know, we don't want to cook the food because it has all the enzymes, and they talk about a food matrix, right? So the way that the natural foods are made, it's in a matrix. So for example, like if we take an apple, some people say, I can't eat an apple, there's too much fructose in it. Well, there is fructose in it, but within the apple matrix, the fructose release is released on a much more slow scale than if you eat a candy bar where there's a spike, right? Because the food matrix of a candy bar, there isn't much of a food matrix. There's nothing really holding things in place. With an apple, you're breaking it down kind of systematically in a way that your body handles it optimally. As opposed to if you eat, flour, sugar, processed foods, the way that goes in, it spikes things. It's absorbed very, very quickly. So micronutrients, just think fruits, vegetables, greens, beans. It has things in them that keep you healthy, real simple. And if you want to go really in depth with it, and it's opposite of macronutrients, right? So again, we got our brains, and this isn't unusual. This is not okay, folks. Let's just say, what do you know about dieting and eating foods, right? What do you track? Have you ever tracked your food? What have you tracked? You've tracked your what? Your macronutrients, fat, carbohydrates, proteins, maybe fiber, and fiber they took right the fuck out of the whole thing. Fiber you can't even classify as anything. They don't want to classify as a nutrient, so it depends what you look at, because a lot of the fiber we don't absorb, right? Insoluble fiber just stays in our gut and we pass it. Okay. So that, but the fibers, I find, for me personally, and a lot of my clients that really get into it, the fiber is the most important piece, so yeah, you've been trained to focus on macronutrients. Why would that be? Because who the fuck's tracking micronutrients that you know of? What diet have you ever done that's focused on micronutrients? Yeah, nothing. They're all macronutrients. Why is that? Because you can still get macronutrients from all the processed food. You're not getting the micronutrients from the processed food. So again, why do you think about calories so much? Why do you think about calories so much and micronutrients not at all? Because the diet industry conditioned you on that. Because they can, it's just calories. It's just calories. And it is calories. I'm not sitting here disputing that. It is calories, but there's more context to it. But if all you do is look at calories, well, then you can get the jerko who's like, well, I just ate a McDonald's for 3 months and I lost a bunch of weight. Yeah, you can do that if you're really intentional, but it's very unlikely you'll do that because that food tends to trigger overeating. So again, the way we look at things has been very manipulated. You don't look at things in a objective, honest way. You look at things in the way that a diet company executive would want you to look at them. And by the way, just so you all know, the diet executives are the food company executives. All the big diets you know about are owned by big food companies. Weight Watch was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products owned by the same company that owns Carvel Ice Cream and Cinnabon. Slim Fast owned by the same company as Ben and Jerry's. There's like people, they got different wings of companies run different things, Jim. Yeah, well, listen, no big company is going to buy and promote a diet that causes you to eat less of their core product. Does that make any sense in your world? I always joke. I mean, the day Nestle buys Program Yourself Thin and blasts it out to the world, I would happily, I'll be the first one on here that day saying I was wrong. I was wrong about that, because the second they did that, their sales would plummet. Because as soon as people got to Program Yourself Thin, they'd eat less of that bullshit. So I don't think that they're putting in front of you weight loss plans that cause you to eat less of their product. That makes no sense to me. So anyways, you'd have to, figure out how that would work. Yes, I totally relate to what you just said about it's not even the food or drinks that we can't say no to. It's the routine of the bonding. Yeah, exactly. When you understand that, again, you've just been conditioned to misunderstand. You've been conditioned to be confused. And don't you feel confused when it comes to your weight and what you should eat, right? Every week there's a different study. Every week there's a different diet. Every week there's a different philosophy. And you've been doing this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years straight. So your brain's just mashed potatoes when it comes to how to lose weight. Like you don't have a consistent thought of how to do it. At best is I got to cut calories. I got to work out. What the fuck's that mean? That's like saying, how do you make a lot of money? Oh, work hard. That's it. Just work hard. It's like, yeah, that's how you should always know. Like when there's something that's really important to you that you really haven't gotten any further with, and it's been 10, 20, 30 years, it's because you've been led to be confused mostly, or you just are confused. Now, I confuse myself. I'll say I take the blame. Guitar. I've always enjoyed playing guitar. I'd never fancy myself. I was never be a professional musician. That was never my goal. I just like playing by myself and playing, it was fun. And so, so I never really took it very seriously. I never like had a teacher and stuff and really committed to it. And so here I am 30 years later. Now, again, 10 years ago, I had a big kind of breakthrough and stuff. So I've taken it more seriously, but it's an intense hobby, I would say, at best. But there's a lot of confusion because I've approached it that way. And what you can look at your weight loss, you don't think it was a hobby. You think you've been really studying it hard, and you have been doing a lot. But what you've been studying at has been spoon fed to you by the food industry, diet industry. And it's not meant for you to get anywhere with it. It's meant to give you the illusion that you're doing something and moving forward when in reality you're not. And if you zoom out and look back over your weight loss history, you're going to realize it's like you running on a hamster wheel. You haven't learned anything. You haven't mastered anything. You don't know anything more about how to change your behaviors, your eating than you did when you started. You've just got a whole bunch of vague ideas of what you should do. I shouldn't eat carbs. I should stop eating sugar. I should work out more. I should drink more water. I should, whatever. You know what I mean? It's just basic stuff. There's no holistic, comprehensive strategy. And that's what Program Yourself Thin is. It's a complete system with granular understanding of the subtle things that are truly impacting your weight. You know? Yeah, Betty says so confused. Of course, because a confused mind is a stuck mind and doesn't do anything. You know? Yeah, user 611 says the older I get, the more I realize it's about getting healthier and not so much how I look. Yeah, folks, I mean, this part's so crazy to me. I used to be like kind of nervous to say this, but like, I don't know, when you start getting your 60s and 70s, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck about loose skin? We're all gonna have loose skin. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it starts, I don't know, like, I look at like, maybe it's because geez, my mom's 85. The lady I live next door to is like 99, and she was so healthy and active, she's still kicking it, got a bad knee, but it's like, so it's crazy, but it's like, it puts my head in like, how do I live the next 50 years? How do I want to live the next 50 years? Now, how do I want to look over the next 50 years? Who the fuck cares what I look like when I'm 75? Like, I mean, I want to be thin and healthy, but what am I doing? What am I doing? Like what am I going to do? Like be a model? Like go to the bar and pick up girls? I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking. I do, because it's hypnotic thinking. You're not thinking about it. You have this vague motivation to want to look better, and you've never really even reflected on that because you don't even give a shit. You would like to look better, but you don't really give a shit. If you really cared, you would have lost weight. You're not alone. Don't be offended by that. And as we get older, it gets less and less important. And it should. Cares I had 3 birds. A conure. What's a conure? I don't know what that is. I thought you were asking me. Did you ask that because you could hear the bird, or because you just were thinking about that? I thank God that you're brave enough to talk about this. Me, the only one. I joke a lot, but so thankfully. Well, thank you, Connie. I appreciate that. I do. It does feel weird. Like it feels weird saying a lot of stuff. And it's funny because it's been a process, of a path for me. I mean, I'm doing this personally for 30 years, professionally for 20 years. And it's like, it's a weird thing because, it's weight in this country. And it's not weight in this country. You got to realize the other side of it, that it's the money. It's the money made off of you over consuming is in their shit, their food, that's what makes it hard. The biggest difference of what you're teaching us is calming down and being mindful, and also the structure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, being calm. Yeah, Betty says I can't calm down. A lot of people can't calm down, and it's because you haven't practiced it. It's no different than like, oh, I can't write with my left hand. Well, it's not because you can't write with your left hand. You just haven't dedicated the time to it. Oh, it's too hard. Well, it's not that hard, first of all. And B, what's the alternative? Like, to live a life where you can't calm down, how's that going to impact you over time? But you absolutely can. It's just a matter of knowing how and putting the work in too, I think Spence says, I appreciate you. I appreciate that. I'm so grateful. Oh, thank you all. I wasn't looking for, I don't want to be that far. I'm not trying to go compliment fishing, but I always appreciate them. Great idea about carrying the pet food bag. Yeah, that's a powerful one for sure. What's up, Shireen? I'm older than my husband. My health and my longevity very important to me, and got to keep up with him. Yeah, that's a good one, right? Now that's a real goal. That's a real one. I like that because she's internalized. It means something to her. It has meaning. Weight loss, you have to give your weight loss more meaning. Most people walking around, their weight loss is very meaningless. It really, if you're not losing, like if you want to lose weight and you haven't lost weight and aren't currently losing weight, it's because it's not meaningful to you. You'd like to lose weight, but you don't really care that much about it. I want to look better and live longer. Yeah, fair enough. I like that. Yeah, I'm shackled and chained. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ozempic's not teaching you anything. True story. The Ozempic's not teaching you anything. And again, I don't know. I'm starting to hear whispers of it with the Ozempic. But, you have to understand, again, all the money being made off Ozempic. And so your first, like, you think of Ozempic like, oh, all of a sudden it just appeared on the scene. But you don't understand that there's an entire multinational $1 billion corporation behind it engineering the release of this. So that the way you instinctually think about it, your first thoughts about Ozempic, the images that come to mind, the fucking song, just all this stuff. It's so meticulously been thought out for years before they unleash it on you. So that now when you're walking around, even the things you're thinking, the song you're singing in your fucking head with that, I hate that song and I hate that they did it. I thought about making a redo of it, make it about fiber. But anyways, so it's just so manipulative, and so you're getting a not honest view of what it is, even though they make it seem honest, because that's the classic trick, is to be like, I saw Oprah do that, and I broke it down into, I made an Oprah video. It's on my YouTube channel, but I made a really that video that I made was 5 times longer than that. But I didn't release all of it because I don't even think I'm nuts. Because it's like, hypnotist wise, I can hear hypnotic phrases. I see hypnotic techniques being used. So they are, oh yeah, the sulfur burps and feeling uncomfortable, blah, 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 blah. They'll mention those things and then they kind of deal with them. But so they're not giving you an honest view of what this medicine does. And we don't really know what it does ultimately. We don't know how much weight you're going to lose with it. We already know it doesn't last if you get off of it. But all I'm saying is that, we'll see. Time will tell. We'll see what happens in a couple of years, with people on it. And I would just bet already it's not a perfect thing. It's not a cure. It's just something to manage the problem with. So anyways. Yeah, heard the birds. I have 2 green sheep conures and a sun conure. Oh, little parrots. Okay, I know those. Those are so cute. I love those birds. Even if I could wear a string bikini, I wouldn't know. Fair enough, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's the other piece. So that's the American culture too. It's so youth obsessed. And so the idea of getting older, will do anything to look younger. And so, again, that's up to everyone. That's your choice how you want to deal with that. But for me personally, maybe it's easier to become a guy. I just don't give a shit. I don't care. I know what my grandfather looked like, and I know what I'm going to look like. Like, I always joke, even when I was 20, I'm like, I can't diet myself to look like Brad Pitt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, there's kind of ceilings to what I'm going to look like. And I'm fine with that. I don't know. Like it's fine. I don't give a shit because I don't care. I mean, I've been married to I've been with the same person. I was 16. So my health and my longevity are way front of mind. And I think for people, the more you start to flip flop your motivation from, and again, you can still want to look good. I like being talented. I like my clothes fit. I like all the rest of it, but it's I guess I have to think about it. I try to lose weight since January, still no weight loss. Still trying no weight loss. Well, I'd have to know what you were trying to lose weight since January. Like, what have you been doing? That's the big question there. I'm proud of you though. Like, here we are in April, and if you're still even attempting it, that is phenomenal. So great job. The secret now is to, well, first of all, make sure you go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session, and go sign up for the hypnosis session. But watch the video, because now you're in a great spot where you've been putting effort in and you haven't gotten the results you want, but you're still putting effort in. So now what you need is an understanding of how to tweak what you're doing so you start getting the results you want. So great job sticking with it. And whatever you've been doing, now you know what doesn't work. Now you can do something different. And you're not used to thinking that way. So go check out that video. That'll kind of help you out. Kathleen says, "Oh, my husband sings that song, drives me crazy." Yeah, it's just what they do. They're masters. Like I am literally technified. I'm certified as a master hypnotist. I've done over 6,000 private weight loss sessions, but I don't think I'm anywhere close to being the level of hypnotist of people that work at these marketing companies. I think they are the master hypnotists. Because, listen, you have to understand that every commercial is a hypnosis session. So I think understanding that's very helpful. You're constantly being conditioned at a subconscious level by all these ads, this marketing, all the stuff they're doing, even the song, Yeah, Karen says my friend's sister had to stop Ozempic, couldn't afford it anymore, and gain the weight back quick. Oh yeah, the weight's gonna come back quick, and I don't know what that'll do to your metabolism long term. That part's gonna be a little scary. Yeah, the expense of it is extremely expensive, you know, and so yeah, I just listen. I said this months ago. Okay, is I said everyone, because people are asking me about Ozempic for last year, and before I even really understand anything about it, I always go at it with my initial thing of like, we've been around for a while, right? I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're older than 20, 30 years old, I'm sure. And so you think over your history with weight and all the miracle cures that came along, the fen, the gastric bypass, the lap band, obviously all the diets, the shakes, the acai berry, the potions from the Amazon rainforest, the teas from the hills of Nepal, the Ozempics. I mean, if they don't work, um, again, there's no one thing that's going to fix your weight. There's just no one thing that's going to fix it. It's a comprehensive, holistic thing. And so it takes a comprehensive, holistic approach and system to master it. So yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. Yeah, it's super expensive. That says you make so much sense. I appreciate you saying that. I think I do make sense because you don't hear a lot of that. Okay, so and I can't read your name. This is like Mary, but the middle name letter looks different for me. K-cal deficit. Yeah, so the calorie deficit, right? So I get it. How much of a calorie deficit have you been creating? You're 58. So what kind of calorie deficit you've been creating? I don't want to worsen my health and pay more hospital bills, but that motivation makes me sad. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Kim within. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. So yes, when we focus on our health, that is the hard part. When you first, and that's why I think people don't do it as well, is that focusing on the actual situation you're in health wise, where things could go if you don't change it, it can hurt. Okay. But we got to I always say like, it's better to experience it in your imagination than it is to experience it in real life, and so I get that motivation can make you sad, which is why in my world, when we talk about motivation, the foundational layer of it is the pain, but the rest of it is pleasure because your brain's a pleasure seeking mechanism. And what's driving most of your behaviors, I mean, the reason you're struggling to lose weight is because the pleasure you associate to the food. So, yes, we want to have a pain layer of motivation, but then we want to live as much as possible in the pleasure of being the person we want to be, eating the way we want to eat. Right? Dan says, what's interesting is I've read that the food industry and even restaurants are worried about people eating less for the drugs, which tells you they don't want us to be healthier. Yeah, exactly. I have an image of the drug companies and the food companies fist fighting. Yeah, absolutely. The Brad Pitt comments are the best. Yeah, right. Yeah, I've heard that too. They're freaking out. They're freaking out because the Ozempic is making a big shift in people's on a big level. And so the food companies are freaking out. But again, that's just proof, by the way, that the diets, if they own Weight Watchers, it's because it doesn't work. Do you understand? They were using Weight Watchers to sell their shitty foods anyways, but there's nothing in a Weight Watchers plan. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's always some people that just thrive on Weight Watchers. There's always outliers, but the vast majority of people that do Weight Watchers, you're not learning anything new that's really helping you. It's just a glorified calorie tracking, So you're not learning anything real and new that's going to help you live at your goal weight forever. You're not learning how to deal with your emotions. You're not learning how to master your motivation. You're not learning how to deal with your habits strategically. You're not learning how to deal with how to think like a thin, healthy person. You have no idea about your identity and self-image. You've learned nothing about how to maintain being a thin, healthy person for the rest of your life. So, you don't learn anything that's really helpful. Oh yeah, what was the thing on the doctor's show? Oh, goji berries, right? Yep, goji berries. So Mary says 1,400 calories. Well, now when I hear someone who's been 4 months at 1,400 calories, a 1,400 calorie deficit, or you've been at 1,400 calories, they're probably one and the same if they're somewhere. But if you've been doing 4 months at 1,400 calories, and again, it depends where you started from. But let's just say I'm going to assume you're eating at 1,400 calories a day now. I mean, the first thought that comes in my head, and you got to understand this, is that that's probably not accurate. If you are tracking calories for 4 months and you consistently 90% of the time are eating 1,400 calories, where before you were eating 2,500 calories, 4 months later, it would be very unusual for you not to have lost some weight. And so the first place my mind goes to is that you're not tracking accurately, just to be honest. Okay. The next thing comes down to that you may need to do more than just cut calories, which is improve the lifestyle, improve the quality of the food you're eating. So those are the initial, without knowing very much about the situation, those are the things I would start with. Never thought about all the weight loss things, fads over the years, and nothing works long term. Yeah, exactly, Karen. That's what I mean. Nothing fucking works, which leads you to a place now where you're so apathetic with your weight. There's a reason for it. You're not stupid. You've put two and two together, and you know that the diets and all the bullshit doesn't work. And so you're never really even committing to anything anymore because you don't think anything's going to work. That's where the diet industry wants you. That's the sweet spot for the diet/food industry. They're one and the same, remember. And so program yourself then. I put this concept out there for you to realize that, not only do I hope it makes sense to you, but to point out to you, there's a completely different way to approach this that you've never even thought about and you never would think about. It's very counterintuitive. It's taken me 30 years. This has been a focus of mine forever, right? Really, it really has. Makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, but Kim with me 100, make sure you get, I try to tell you this. I don't know if it works. I don't know. But if you get on my email list, I just gave people on my list access to the Spark program. It's free. It's a motivation program. It's really designed to kind of kickstart your weight loss. It's free. There's a 15-minute motivation challenge, which would be great for you, Kim, with 100. I would definitely suggest that's 15 minutes. Okay. And if you can get through the sad part, that sadness is a lot of power wrapped up in that sadness. You're running away from the sadness, but that's where all the power is. Okay. Again, we're not going to live in sadness, but we're going to have it. Again, so what's my sadness? Just to point it out, I'm not blowing smoke. For me, my pain, my dad died at 54 of a heart attack. So for me, my core pain is I don't want to die at 54 of a heart attack. And I certainly don't want to contribute to my dying at 54 of a heart attack. I always say, the worst part of losing my father, looking back on it now, obviously just losing him was the worst part. But what made it even worse was that he did it in a way that I blamed him for. I love my dad was amazing. He's just an awesome, awesome dude here. All the best dad in the world, great relationship. Everything was wonderful. I loved him. And, when he died though, then it's like, well, he was obese. I didn't realize at the time he was a smoker. He had a very unhealthy lifestyle and the weight was a big part of that. And so for many years before I was able to handle the emotions of his passing, those 10 years I really, really struggled with after that. But a big part of it was I was so angry at him because I felt like he did it to himself. So for me, it's like, if a piano falls on my head when I'm 54, I can handle that. I don't want that to happen to my kids, but I can handle it. What I do not want is I don't want to contribute to me dying early so that my kids would be angry at me. That's one of the worst pains I felt from my father dying. The loss is really bad and the anger has just made it worse. I've kind of come to peace with it all, but this is what I'm trying to say. You have control over this piece. There's a lot of your health and longevity you don't have control over, but this part is a huge part and you have complete control over it. But you're not thinking of it that way. You're thinking, I want to wear those skinny jeans. So fuck about your skinny jeans. You know what I mean? I'm talking about living as long as you can, spending every moment you can with the people you love the most, being mobile, being independent, being free, going on adventures, being alive, feeling alive. This is what I'm talking about. And you never associate weight loss with this. You would say, oh, I'm gonna try and lose some weight. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try my keto plan now. It's fucking stupid, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna join Weight Watchers again. I've done it 50 times, but I heard the 51st times when it really starts working. And you're doing dumb shit because you're not seeing this clearly. You got gunked up eyes, or you're like, oh, I'd like to wear a bathing suit. Do I really even want to wear a bathing suit now? I don't even know if I want to. And what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You're gonna diet yourself into a 20-year-old body. Sorry to be a dick, but I mean, I know it's Jesus Christ. It's like people walking around with these impotent goals, which gets me to the final point. I feel like I end this all the time with this, that you don't even want to lose weight. There's a great chance you don't even want to lose weight. If you're new here, I bet you don't even want to lose weight. You kind of like to, but you don't really want to, because it was like, I don't want saggy skin. Fuck that. I'm not gonna wear a bathing suit. I'm not gonna wear a bathing suit. Give me a break. I don't like the beach. I don't like to go to the beach. I kind of like being overweight, so I don't have to wear a bathing suit. I don't like going to the beach, so I can skip the whole beach. You know what I mean? Like this is, I'm telling you, this is the level that's making your decisions for you, you know? And this is why you're so confused, which again, I don't mind. I don't want to go to the beach. Fuck it. I don't care what I weigh. I love those people. And I talk to them all the time. Because listen, when someone's going to work with me, it's investments. Listen, are you sure you want to do this? Because you probably don't. That's my sales pitch. You probably don't even want to lose weight. So you probably just, you spend your money on some burgers and fries and enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? Just, tell other people about me, Most people really don't want to. Most people really don't want to lose weight. I don't know. What do you want? So it's like, it's like I just took a sip of coffee. I'm not getting mad at myself. So I'm drinking coffee. I want to drink coffee. Do you know what I mean? But you want to eat the food and you're mad at yourself for not losing weight. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Lisa says the Spark program works. The Spark program is awesome. It's free. Fucking free. This is why I know people don't want to lose weight. It's just, Jim, what are you talking about? Of course I want to lose weight. Well, yeah. Well, will you take a minute to fill out a form and then watch the 15-minute motivation challenge? Do you care that much? I got some scrolling to do. I got some, I'll get to it. Yeah, that's because you don't give a shit. You don't care about your weight. Most of you. I know some of you really do. The ones that are taking action do care. It's a real clear litmus test of how much you care about your weight. If you're actively doing things and losing weight, then you care. If you're actively doing things and not losing weight, then you care. If you're just thinking about it and not sticking with anything and not doing anything, it's because you don't care. Don't confuse yourself. I find dieters are really confused. Oh, I want to lose weight more than anything, and it's not happening. Yeah, that's because you don't want to lose weight more than anything. You're bullshitting yourself. Yeah. I tell people this all the time. The first challenge you got to overcome is you actually have to get motivated. You're not really motivated. You wish you lose weight. You don't really want to. You really want to eat the food. That's how you can tell. You want to eat the food and keep living the way you're living, and you kind of wish you'd lose weight. You're magical. I wish I could magically lose weights up here, but your actual desire to actually do something is here. Now, I won't blame you completely because what you have been conditioned to believe you have to do is all bullshit. So I get that, but that's why I try to get out of here that, it's a different way of thinking about it. Lisa says, while you're on vacation, I'll be listening from episode 1 on a podcast. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I know a lot of clients in the program. I mean, people get the best results are the ones that use the program the most. It's I'll share something with you because I say things from my perspective, and that's hard because I live in my world with my people. But I will share a personal experience of how this all factors in your mindset, right? So I was talking about guitar, right? I've been playing guitar for 30 years. When I first started playing guitar, and most of my life before that, my mom would always tell me, "You don't have a musical bone in your body." That was her phrase. She would say it over and over and over again, and I believed it. And so when I was 19, I met a friend. He played guitar, kind of got me into it. I'd always loved guitar. I always loved music. Never thought of musical bone. Never was encouraged. Never did it. And my mom's awesome, by the way. Listen, no one's perfect. So she had her own hangups with music, anyways. But anyway, so I play guitar. Never thought I was very good, right? Even that, I'm starting when I'm 20. I'm too old, right? It's funny thinking that. But I'm like, I'm not very good at guitar. But I like playing, and I played that way for 20, 25 years. And then I read a book, and the book was called Peak. And in that book, he talks about how he went to a music school because they were studying violinists. Because violinists, it's a very structured. You don't just pick up the violin. You can't learn that on your own. You pretty much need to be taught. And so the violin people, they had first, second, and third chair. First chair were the best people, second, third chair. Okay. And they interviewed all those people. And what they found out without exception was that the first chair people practiced the most. The second chair people practiced the second most. And the third chair people practiced the third most. So that moment for me was profound because I was under the belief that I just wasn't a good guitar player. Now, I never realized it's because I haven't really committed to it. I haven't practiced in a real structured way. I haven't worked with people to get good at it. But it's a chicken or the egg thing sometimes. Like what we believe impacts how hard we go at it. But I will tell you, in Program Yourself Thin, the people that are most engaged with the program always get the best results. The people that listen to the podcast the most get the best results. It's just that way. I say that to you because that comes back to the fixed growth mindset piece. That if you think you're just an overweight person, that's who you are. That's fucking bullshit. You can change your weight because you can change your beliefs. You can change your thinking. You can change your behaviors, and you can change how you feel. You can change all of those things, and that'll lead to you changing your weight. So, MHAP says fasting to lose weight, 1 meal a day, very healthy, unprocessed nutrition, and then less to maintain. Fasting to lose weight, 1 meal a day, and then less to maintain. I'm not sure what that means. That's what you're doing to lose weight? That sounds like a tough plan to stick with. Kelly says, what's up, Kelly? Weight Watchers, where you can eat horrible food, just stay at the right amount of points. There you go, Kelly. Right? Because Weight Watchers, I told you they used to have their meetings in the back of freezers at supermarkets because it was really just a way to sell their shitty foods. So what I'm telling you with the diet industry is it's always something. We never put everything together because I will say like the keto thing, you can get to a level of keto where they really are talking about high quality meat. But again, then the idea of just eating meat is so fucking silly. Like it's like what a dangerous experiment to do on yourself. And I say that because you show me the data on what's the civilization has thrived on a keto diet. Please let me know. And don't tell me paleo person, because that shit's proven to be all wrong. Paleo person wasn't just eating meat. How they get 130 grams of fiber in their bodies. You tell me the civilization's thriving on keto plans. Yeah. But so they're weird. They're weird plans. You're always getting these weird ass plans. They're just like, because I don't know why no one wants the obvious thing. Like, what's the obvious thing? Right? Eat whole natural foods. It's like that is without question the most studied, proven way to master your weight. But that gets into a whole other conversation. But I don't want to get into that part. But yeah, that's a good point though, Kelly. Yeah. Weight Watchers, I don't talk about the quality of the food you're eating. And then if you're eating shitty quality food, your ability to manage your points or calories is very, very difficult. Very difficult. Yes, gluttony or laziness are deemed sinful and are judged not understood as an addiction. Yeah, I would agree with that. You're seriously funny, preaching the truth. I am trying to preach the truth. Erica says, temporarily in Arizona where it's warmer than home, so I'm walking while listening to Tough Love. That's awesome, Erica. Great job. Yeah, out in Arizona. And that's super. Yeah, so you go for your walk, right? You use your walk as your safe space, right? You use your walk as your grounding place. So you know what I mean? And then as I was telling you this last week, when you are anticipating confrontation with people that you may be around down there, you anticipate yourself responding the way you want to as well. And then you recharge and ground yourself when you go for walks. Get by yourself, get yourself right again. Then go back in the situation. When you feel depleted, you get the fuck out of there again. You ground yourself, charge yourself back up, get back in there. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be perfect either, by the way. It just needs to be better. And that'll feel good. Yep. Jody said, I listen all the time, podcast every day in lives. And Jim withdrawal when he misses a one. Yeah, the lives are fun. I know. I always feel, I know that next week I'll be gone for a couple of days. But I know I was thinking about yesterday. I was thinking like it'd be cool to like live stream from the eclipse, but I was in no man's land. There was no signals. Plus, I don't like I kind of go in like I'm in like work mode, not work mode, and when I'm in not work mode, I can't mix the two very well. It seems. Jim withdrawal is a real thing. So annoyed that work has been in my way. That's funny. I've lost 6.5 kilograms in 3 days from water fasting, but I can't keep the weight off. Well, I think it's kind of like I was thinking about this yesterday too. Like the words we use are so funny. Like literally lost weight. Like what Summer just described is probably the most like I'm falling on the word. That's like the most specific word for what you did, right? Kind of like losing weight is just a funny thing. I know everyone's heard these conversations, like weight loss. You're trying to lose it, but it's such a weak perspective to come from. But anyways, the idea of like water fasting, but I can't keep the weight off. Well, it's not that you can't keep the weight off. Do you understand? Keeping the weight off is not the problem. The problem is you can't live on water. Does that make sense? This is really important to understand because there's cause and effect. Understanding this is really, really valuable. Weight is an effect. You can't lose weight. If you think about it, you literally can't lose weight, short of literally chopping a leg or arm off, then you'd be lighter. But short of that, you literally can't lose weight. Like, how would you lose weight? You can't. What you can do is you can eat better and live healthier. And then over time and through some magical process, your weight goes down. But you didn't lose weight. You ate better and lived healthier. So there's cause and effect. Your weight's a reflection of what you're eating and living at. So when all of a sudden you stop eating and now I'm just going to drink water, well, your weight goes down. But to say that I can't keep the weight off, you can keep the weight off, just keep water fasting. Well, I can't keep water fasting, Jim. Why? Because I need to eat. Okay. So it's nothing to do with keeping the weight off. It has everything to do with what you have to do over here. The more you get obsessed with the process, mastering your reading, mastering your lifestyle, mastering your mindset, the more control you have over what happens over here. This is what I was saying, like the losing weight again, and I use the phrase sometimes, that's what people say, but you always hear me say mastering your weight, because losing weight is it's weak language, right? You're running away from, you're trying to hide from it. And you're scared of your weight. You're scared of the scale, terrified of it. You're in a position of weakness when it comes to your weight. That's what you've been conditioned to do. The diet industry has taught you to do that too, by the way. You're very, very weak and powerless when it comes to your weight. You're to the point, I don't know. I just water fast and I dropped all this weight, but I can't keep it off. Well, yeah, because you can't fucking drink water for your whole life. That was never a good strategy ever. This drives me crazy with Oprah. Oprah come wheeling her fucking fat in, and it's like, whoa, look at all the weight I lost. I'm cheering for her. How'd you do it, Oprah? Oh, I did a liquid diet. I stopped the cheering. Oh, I take all my cheering back. Can I take my cheering back? Because liquid fasting is stupid. What are we doing? That's not a long-term strategy. So mastering your weight comes down to mastering your mindset, your lifestyle, and your eating, mastering it so that I can eat, live, and think in a way that allows me to live in my goal weight forever. And once you know how to do that, you know how to do it. And you all don't know how to do that because you know how to be overweight and you know how to fight against it. And that's it. And going on a water fast for a couple of days is a way to fight against what you normally do. It's what I call, it's an anti-strategy. Okay. So you have your primary weight mindset is an overweight mindset. If you're overweight. Okay. Meaning the way you're programmed, what you just automatically think, feel, live, and do keeps you overweight. That's your normal automatic behavior. And what the diet's an anti-mindset. So basically all the dieting is basically saying, I'm not going to do the things I always do. I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat food. I'm just going to drink water. It's an anti-mindset. It's not a real mindset. Okay. So like when it comes to like loving your partner, that's a real mindset, right? That you know how to do it. You know how to think about them. You know how to act with them. You know how to communicate with them to have that relationship. It's an actual mindset. If you're a parent, you have a parent mindset. You know how to be a parent. Okay. Your weight mindset is how you eat, how you think about food, how you live, and you know how to do that. But what you do when you diet is you anti that. You just try and no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. It's not a real mindset. It's not a mindset built for you to live at your goal weight. It's a mindset built to get your weight down for a little bit. I hope that makes sense. And you've never once in your life focused with the goal of creating a thin, healthy mindset. Think about that. Think about that. Trying to lose all the time, effort, money you've put into losing weight. Never once have you worked on creating a thin, healthy mindset so that you can live your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. You've never had that goal. You've never once thought of that goal, not even passing, not even once. It's always been, I want to lose weight. And when you think about losing weight, you're referencing your overweight self. Because who wants to lose weight? People that are overweight. So you're always, always, always solidifying and holding on to your identity as being an overweight person. And the more diets you do, the stronger that identity becomes. The more water fast you do, the stronger the identity becomes that you're an overweight person who's out of control with your eating. I have to do crazy fucking ridiculous things to try and fight against this. It lasts for a couple days and then I can't keep the weight off. Now, you can keep the weight off. Your strategy is horse shit. And this is where we're at, you know? Kelly says, ex-husband liked me larger and I gained lots when I was with him. Today I'm living healthier and happier. Yeah, that's great. That's great, Kelly. Yeah, you got to figure out what works for you. And sometimes that brings difficult things up. That's what I was starting with here. Is like, again, people in your life that you're very close to, that love you the most. You know what I mean? It disrupts the relationship and the rapport, no doubt. Sweet Quest says, I went through an autoimmune protocol and lost pain and 13 pounds weight in 16 weeks. Oh, I lost motivation? You lost motivation to do it? The autoimmune protocols are great because you really learn a lot about yourself. I'd be so much better if I stuck to it. Okay, well, Sweet Quest, this is, I hear this all the time, and this really gets to what I'm talking about, that motivation is a skill. When I talk about program yourself, then the mindset part of it, there's 6 components we go through. And think about right now that you don't even know any of these. And then you tell me how the fuck you're going to not, it would be like if I want to learn the guitar, like, okay, what have you done to learn it? If you study chords, scales, rhythm, solos, whatever. No, I haven't done any of that. I just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of hit it. Huh? Well, you gotta learn these things, right? But here you are trying to diet for forever, right? But in mindset and program yourself, then in order of how we go through them, motivation. Do you know how to motivate yourself? No, right? Because Sweet Quest said, I wish I stuck with it. I'd feel so much better if I stuck to it. Yeah, but you didn't stick to it. Why do you think that is? Part of it's motivation, right? Because when you were motivated, you did it, right? So now you're not motivated. And here's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, you're not motivated. You have fucking no idea how to get yourself motivated. That's the part I'm trying to point out here. You're just like, as I was talking about the eclipse, right? Like you treat your motivation as if it's like an eclipse, like the planets have to align just right. Oh, now I'm motivated. You have no idea how to motivate yourself. You can't motivate yourself. I mean, you can, like you absolutely can, but you don't know how. Your self-image, right? Do you even know what your self-image is? Do you know how your identity factors into this whole process? Do you think if you think of yourself as an overweight person or a thin, healthy person, it might make a difference? Your habits? Do you understand the neuroscience of habits, like strategic habit manipulation? Do you know how to do that? Or are you just using willpower to change them all at once? Emotions, you know how to deal with emotions, feel the emotions you want, deal with the shitty emotions you don't want to feel? Or do you just use food to deal with them? Do you know how to think like a thin, healthy person, right? Like the questions to ask, how you think about food, how you, literally how you think, the nuts and bolts of how to think like a thin, healthy person. Do you know that? And then maintenance. Do you know how to maintain? Do you know how to keep it going, keep it up? And if you don't know those things, like, how would you ever succeed with this? Because why? Because of willpower in your keto plan? Again, I ask every day because I'm not saying this like I know everything. I'm saying it though, and if like you feel differently, please correct me where I'm wrong. Please correct me how your keto plan and willpower are gonna allow you to live as a thin, healthy person for the rest of your life. Please, I would love to hear how. My mom says when I lose weight, she finds it. Yeah, weight loss really is. Again, I say it sometimes, but it really is like it's a weird phrase. I'm down 60 pounds and currently stuck. Well, great job. How long are you stuck for? And what did you do to lose it? Eric says, lucky that my guy is on a healthy path with me and both of us are staying on track even while apart. That is, Erica, that definitely makes it easier. It's hard when your partner's not in the same space as you are. No doubt about it, So I'm happy for you. That doesn't, thank God my wife, I say that all the time, Sweet Quest says, when people go through your program, how long do we interact with the group? When you sign up for the coaching program, you get 8 weeks and we have 2 calls a week, so it's 8 weeks. And then, to be honest, I give you an extra week. So it's usually 9 weeks. And then, if people do decide to continue, there's coaching options continuing, but those 8 weeks are really, really, really powerful, because like, again, there are like things that are right in front of you. But I always say this, right? Like, this is one, you may have heard me say this, but if you close one eye and look your nose, you see it. Close the other eye and look your nose, you see it. Oh, freaking microphone. I'm not gonna put it on now about that. But yeah, so close one eye, nose, you see it. Close the other eye, look your nose, you see it. Open both eyes, your brain deletes your nose. There's no point in seeing it. And so there's a lot of solutions and challenges that are right in front of you that you're just not seeing. So those 8 weeks are so transformative just because I'm able to highlight the big challenges that are in front of you you're not seeing and the big solutions that are right in front of you. And again, once you have those blueprints figured out, it becomes, it changes the whole process, because if you think about it, your entire weight loss approach that up till now has been kind of all or nothing, right? You either are motivated and doing everything perfect, or you're not doing anything. And there's really no gray space, right? Because if you're keto is the best example of this, but it's like, and they've turned intermittent fasting into a version of this as well. But keto is the ultimate because if like you can't be halfway with keto, right? Because all of a sudden I'm on ketosis and I'm just eating all this fat, right? Now you're fucked. You're in big trouble. So it's like you're either all or nothing. But with this here, like once you start thinking the blueprint form, you start realizing if I master this blueprint, I'm going to master my weight. And part of mastering the blueprints is figuring it out first, like kind of filling it out initially, and then testing it out. Is it working or is it not working? And where it's not working, we make it better, we tweak it. And that becomes it. That's what it is for me. Like I'm still working on my blueprints constantly. I'm always tweaking and optimizing and making them better for me. And so it's a process that never ends, which is important because that's a big challenge with dieters is if the only thing that matters is the scale stops moving down, at some point, it's not very exciting. You know what I mean? Like when the scale just stops moving, what's going to motivate you then? I ask people this all the time. What's going to motivate you to keep eating healthy and everything when you don't get the weight loss to look forward to? You should give that some thought. I know, I don't give a shit, Jim. I'll figure that out when I get there. Well, no, you won't. And that's part of the reason why you can't do it, you know? Do you have a Facebook group or other group for people who are past 8 weeks? I don't have a Facebook group. I do keep people in the app, and I have a PYT club program that kind of keeps you in the loop, a bit. That's a really low price. But what I find a lot of people do, to be honest, like this kind of becomes the group. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll get people because I know as soon as like when you're in the program, I always kind of put you front of line when I do the lives. So I do the lives every day forever. And yeah, so like I'm always here for you. And once I get to know you, it's easier for me to kind of talk to you right through this. So in a way, this is kind of like, it is in a weird way, kind of like forever coaching, which is why I do it. It's just cool because that's some of my favorite thing. I love people I haven't met either, but I love getting to speak with all the people in the program or that have been in the program, they kind of stay in it. So that's there. And then I will say there is one other thing I'm doing. I'm kind of experimenting with it. I've added a live class. It's not coaching. The coaching is like real in depth. We do it on Zoom and all the rest of it. I keep that group small. The live classes are on Tuesdays. And that's something I might turn that into its own version of a program for people that don't really want coaching, but they still want kind of a connection. I might do that because I was thinking about, I used to do classes for years and I kind of miss doing it because I read books every week and I don't really get a chance now to kind of talk about those books. So I was kind of kicking around doing I have a Thrive program for people that want to continue and adding to that like a live weekly call, like a class. And you can talk to me afterwards. I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but Connie says, you have such a good memory too, Jim. It's amazing how you get to know me so quickly. Yeah, the true story. I do. Yeah, Connie's in the program. So yeah, I really have an amazing memory with this stuff. I will admit that. It's very weird. I wish I don't have a great memory like all the time with stuff, but when it comes to coaching, somehow that stuff always stays in there. So I do really get to know, I know people. I don't know what it is. I will say like it's weird. And then on top of that, like, yeah, there are commonalities, you know what I mean? Success leaves clues. And so, you start to notice patterns of people very quickly. So yeah, I can I get to know people very, very quickly. I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, I've done almost 6,000 private weight loss sessions. People pay me 25 grand to work for me privately. So it's like, my private coaching is, it's a high ticket thing. This is a very high skill I have. I do the group coaching because I want to be able to help more people. Yeah, it is that way. Yeah, looking for a Thrive program. Yeah, well, Sweet Quest, shoot me a message or something. We'll get you. I'll show you what's going on. I'm breaking the programs up a little bit more. I'm actually very quickly here, probably at the end of this week here, I'm probably closing off the group coaching, and we'll just be selling the program as a standalone program. So that'll be. I'm kind of already doing that a little bit right now. You can kind of get it, but that's all that's going to be available for people is to start with the program, which will be $297. But that'll be an 8-week program without coaching. Okay. And that's the stuff too. That's a good program. But yeah, then the group, like I said, the group, it's getting, I keep them kind of small. The coaching's not going away. It's just going to be, what's going to happen is I'm changing the way that I've been offering the group coaching to everyone, but it's starting to get a little bit, it's getting right to the edge where it's just a few too many people. Um, and so, and the other things too, to be honest, what I've realized is, because I've been selling program yourself then. I've been doing program yourself then for 20 years. I should get the first ad I ever did. You probably think it was funny. Like when I had my hypnosis office, I've been doing program yourself then 20 years as a program. And I've sold it as a program for a lot of years. It was like $300, and it used to be kind of like modules and stuff. I'm always adding and optimizing all the rest of it. So the last 5 years, I kind of stopped selling the program on its own, and I was doing mostly just private coaching. I took a year where I certified coaches and program yourself then. And then last year I started teaching a group program where I was like, okay, I'm going to redo the program again while I'm doing it as a group. And, while I'm doing the group coaching with everyone. And that was when I first started with group coaching. And that's been really amazing. I love the group. It's really fun working with everyone in that capacity. And it was way cheaper, because again, I know that's for some people, I know that's expensive too, but money's relative. And so, the group coaching thing's been $1,000 for the last year and a half, but, that price point's out of it's a much for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want coaching. So now what'll happen is the program will still be there. But the coaching is going to be that's probably going to go up to $2,000. Again, it's just a numbers thing. So it's like, I wish I could work with everyone, but again, that's a time numbers thing, but the program's kick ass anyways. So it's like, the program is so good now that, I've tested it and people are getting great results even without the coaching. So the coaching is great if you're that type of person who wants to work directly with me, which is the best money you'll ever spend in your life when it comes to your weight and your health. There's no question about that. But I understand that that's a big investment for some people. So it won't stop them anymore, because again, you'll be able to get it for $300 and you can even split the payments up. And so I know people can get that one. But anyways, I'll have more information about that next week. I'm kind of just doing some back end stuff to get that all going right. So yeah. Would you ever consider doing like a specialty program for entrepreneurs looking to master their weight? Yeah, I have done that. I had a program a million years ago that I did with another entrepreneur of my friends called Weight Loss for Marketers. So yes, I have absolutely done that. But what I don't really do the specialty stuff now. Now it's program yourself then, because it's all the same. And if I work, like if you get the coaching piece, what I always tend to do when I'm able to coach with people is I will associate the weight with the entrepreneurial stuff, right? So I'll give you an example of what I mean. For me personally, my main motivation to master my weight is much more about being the best. I mean, certainly I want to live as long as I can with the best quality of life. That's number one, top level. But right below that is being a successful entrepreneur, right? I run a business, right? I've run a business. I've run my own business for 20 years. And so that's a huge part of my identity and who I am. And so for me to run the business I want to run, to support my family and everything I want to do to the level I want to do it, I've got to be the weight and have the health and the energy that I need to have, you see? So for me, yes, I have that core level. I don't want to die at 54, but most of my energy is I want to be active. I want to be energized. I want to be vibrant. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to learn new things, work with people, remember those people, And so it's like, you see me do this shit. I do this shit every day. I do these podcasts every single day, and you're seeing me for an hour or two, but I'm spending, 3, 4, 6 hours coaching, you know what I mean? Doing trainings, doing all this stuff. So, you can only do that when you're clear headed, you're focused, you're energized, you're light, you're feeling good, all the rest of it. So absolutely a huge motivator for me to master my weight and my health is my entrepreneurial business goals, as well. So it doesn't require its own program. It would be cool to have a group of people like that. To be honest, I mean, that's obviously my private clients. I have a few private clients, and I don't even work too much privately, even at 25 grand, because it just takes a lot. But these are people that are, real outliers, obviously. Most of them are business people. Some are movie stars, people you would even know. And I say that to you only because it's important for you to remember that this isn't a willpower thing. It's not an ambition. It's not an intelligence thing. These people are brilliant. I know you're brilliant if you're listening to this. It's a lack of knowledge problem, And so these people, I mean, shit, look at Oprah. You know what I mean? Oprah, I mean, you don't get smarter, more ambitious and willpower than her. And she's clearly has never figured her weight out. So there's a something lacking. There's a strategic absence in her mind. She doesn't know how to do it, would be my impression. Okay. And so, that's what I help people with. But yeah, the group coaching is really, that's the right fit coaching wise for most people. And like I said, yeah, that's going to be more restrictive, as I'll say, is how it's going to be, All right, everyone, I gotta get out of here. Thank you so much for listening. You guys, great comments as always. Fun to be back. Um, if you're not in my world, go to the bio, click the link at the hypnosis session, watch the videos, go check out the Spark program. Okay. That's up and Adam, ready to go. Got some tools in there for you. If you're really serious, join the program and then listen to the podcast. Podcast the program yourself, then do one every weekday, and it's on all the podcast platforms. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, user 162. I appreciate you too. So thank you. Thank you much. I may not need constant coaching, but peer cheerleaders. Have a great day. Yeah, sweet Chris, shoot me a message. I mean, the group's amazing for that too, because you get to hear other people in the same situation you're in, a lot of the same struggles. You get to hear me working with them. You get to hear about their successes, their struggles, and how we move forward with it. So again, if you can do the group coaching is the best value. I would hazard to say for $1,000, it's the best value you'll ever get in your life when it comes to your weight and your health. Like I think there's no question about that. But regardless, if that's not possible, the program's the second best thing, in my opinion. So anyways, all right, everyone, have a super day and we'll talk soon. Goodbye, everyone.